Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the United Stand. Fresh off the back of England going through to the quarterfinals last night. How's everyone's Monday? Get in the comment section. Let me know how you're feeling today, especially if you're English. If you're not, maybe just give that comment a little bit of a sidestep. You know, we've got a few people that work here at the United Stand who are not as happy as some of the other English members of the team this morning, but that's international football. A World Cup right in the middle of the Premier League season, still not ideal. This is the United Stand, though. We are going to be talking Manchester United and the news that's circulating this morning. Obviously, when things happen in a World Cup like this, teams go out, automatically the journalists and reporters start reporting on things possibly that could happen. Doesn't necessarily mean it is going to happen, but they are talking, and the main one this morning is Yann Sommer. I mean, oh my God. I mean, goalkeeping transfer news is boring on its own as it is, but it just is what we've got to talk about. Obviously, Yann Sommer, the Swiss goalkeeper, he's out of the World Cup. Contract expires in Germany this summer. David De Gea's contract is obviously up for renewal very, very soon as well. So obviously, put two and two together. That's what journalists do. That's what the media do. And Yann Sommer is now apparently, according to Bild, which we will try and put up the tweets on your screen right now as well, with all the quotes there, is Bild is saying that he is automatically looking ahead and looking at Manchester United as a possible suitor for him. 33, goalkeeping age terms, that's not too bad. Again, you can probably sense in the tone of my voice that I'm not really excited. I don't really want to be talking about Yann Sommer. No disrespect to him, he's a very good goalkeeper. We've got a goalkeeper now, we just need to get a contract sorted for or move past that. But Yann Sommer is not the answer for me, in my opinion. The other goalkeepers United should be looking at, not Sommer. But it's there, it's an obvious one, it's free. Does that help us in any way, shape or form? That's what you probably got to look at and say, that's probably why this story is circulating. A player that we can get in that's not going to cost us a lot of money in a summer or a January even, where we need to be spending a lot on other areas. Does that help us? Sommer's not going to be coming to United in January. We've got Dubravka, we've got Heat, and we've got David De Gea. Leading out in the summer, we've got Henderson coming back. I'd rather have Henderson over Sommer, to be fair. We've already got him on the books on a stupid wage anyway, so why go out looking for another goalkeeper? We just have to be looking elsewhere, in my opinion. It is all my opinion, guys. You get your comments and let me know. Do you think we need another goalkeeper? I mean, I feel ridiculous just even saying it or asking the question. Put this stupid goalkeeper talk aside. It's like a continuous saga. United seem to be looking for a goalkeeper every single summer. Not for me. Did you hear what I said then? God, every single summer. Summer, not Sommer. He's obviously sidetracked me now just with his surname. I don't think United need another goalkeeper. I really don't. Like I said, if you're not happy with De Gea and you don't want to sort his contract out, you've got Henderson coming back, or you could sell Henderson and buy an even better goalkeeper. We don't need to be looking at someone like Sommer who is going to be a number two. We've got number twos. We've got number twos coming out the woodwork at Old Trafford right now. So why would we be looking for another number two? I just feel like Bild are just making this story up. I don't think there actually is anything behind it. Obviously, they put two and two together, like I said, and Manchester United possibly may be looking for a goalkeeper in the summer. De Gea's contracts, the issue with Henderson. Obviously, Dubravka will be going back to Newcastle. I can't see him coming into Manchester United. But you got to look at it and go, all they've done really there is just put two and two together, like I said. Looked at United's situation. Sommer's out of the World Cup with Switzerland now. Let's put this story out there. It's one of them nothing ones for me. Guys, you may disagree though. You may think that this is important for Manchester United. Personally, I don't. I really don't. I think we need to be talking more important matters, which is right backs, which is centre forwards, centre midfield. That's what Manchester United need to be looking at, which is where I'm going to go into next, because Fabrizio Romano has been talking as well. United will discuss internally over the next few days the possibilities of signing a striker in January. I'll help you out here, Manchester United, and say, never mind discussing it, let's make it happen. Because we needed a striker when we had Cristiano Ronaldo in the team. We've now not got Ronaldo. We need a striker even more. Internally discussing whether we need a striker, we need a striker. We've got Anthony Martial, who just hasn't played 90 minutes for Manchester United since God knows when. Happy birthday, by the way, the other day to Anthony Martial, 27. You'd expect to be doing big things now at that age. It's prime footballer's age, and we still can't get him continuously in the team. Hence why these discussions don't need to be discussions on whether or not to sign a striker. The discussion should be which striker Manchester United want to sign, because we need one desperately. Manchester United now are short. I mean, you look at Rashford again, doing well in the World Cup, brilliant, is an option as a number 9. All his goals, England and Manchester United this season, 11 of them, and it's a good number, have come from the wings, not as number 9. He has got qualities there as a 9. And if we did bring in a Gakpo who predominantly started from the left, then Rashford's an option as a number 9. But realistically, when you say discussions, and them discussions are whether or not to actually go into the market rather than who we're actually in the market for, that's when you start to worry and go, right, okay. You look into it a bit deeper, you start saying January's coming, we don't usually buy in January, Manchester United are up for sale. Manchester United, well, if I was an owner of any business, when you're winding something up, you tend to not spend any money at all. You tend to look at it and sort of clear the decks in a way and go, I don't really need to spend this money because I'm selling it. Why would I spend another 60 million? We did the show the other day on the United stand, and it's like, obviously the football club has to run as normal. Well, the Glazers are trying to find suitors to purchase Manchester United, but they're not going to put any external money into Manchester United. Now, they've hardly done it since they've been here for 17 years. So we did a show the other day in terms of who Manchester United could actually sell to get off the books, to possibly buy a Gakpo in January. You look at it and we were talking the likes of Brandon Williams, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, looking at Axel Tuanzebe, Donny van der Beek. If he's surplus to requirements, then what's the point in hanging around at Manchester United? Donny is actually on the tour, the mini tour in Spain. He's head out with the rest of the squad. A lot of youth players in there as well. But you look at it and you go, as an owner, why would you want to spend any more money knowing that you're going to sell? You want to hold everything back. And this is always the concern for me. And like comments like this, Manchester United are going to discuss internally whether or not to go into the market. That's what I didn't want to hear. That was the worry in all of this in terms of, will we spend any money in January? Are we sort of giving up on the season if we don't spend any money in January? One injury finishes our season. That's it now. That's how important this is. Martial goes down, we've got Marcus Rashford. That's it. That's the only centre forward we've got. And you can imagine the amount of games, and we don't know how players are going to come back. Marcus Rashford's still got to get through the rest of this World Cup yet. He's probably going to need a little break before he comes back. Can we afford to be falling any way behind when we come back in at the end of this month into the Premier League? We can't really be affording to lose any games or, like I said, just fall behind other teams. I know it's going to be difficult for everyone coming back. Everyone's got to adapt to transitioning from international football back to the Premier League. It's going to be difficult, it's going to be tough. But any sort of fall off right now, and you're worrying, aren't you? Because you've got to then try and make that back up. And as well as we have done at spells this season in terms of like winning 4 or 5 games in a row, you still got to look at the fixtures and go, we've got big games. We've got City coming up in January. We've got massive games. We've got the Barcelona game coming in, the extra games we've got to play that were cancelled when the Queen passed away. There's a lot coming up for Manchester United. I just don't think, and we've seen it in the Europa League Thursday to Sunday, like what happened with Aston Villa. We have not got the numbers to cope with 2 games a week continuously, and that's going to be for the next 3 months straight minimum when we come back from the World Cup. Rashford and Martial as number 9s, that's not enough. Manchester United need to be discussing who, not if we're going to look, who is coming into the football club this month, because it could completely curtail everything that Erik ten Hag is planning. You have to back the manager in this situation. Look, we've had a player that's gone rogue in Ronaldo, all of the nightmare and everything that came with that. You have to try and put that aside. We've saved a fortune in his wages. What, 17 million was it or something like that? United just need to reinvest that back into the team. United could work out a deal whereas, you know what, come the end of the season, in instalments, we could definitely buy a Gakpo in January. That deal can happen and we can structure it right. The discussions whether to buy a striker they're the concern. They're the massive concern for us, because it just sounds like an excuse. It sounds like an excuse. Really, the World Cup started, and before the World Cup started, Cristiano Ronaldo was announced as terminated contract. He's left Manchester United. So why is this coming out now? 2 weeks into the tournament. 2 weeks, then discussions should have been going on. I know we've got a lot going on at the football club, ownerships, and obviously that's going to take priority. I know for a fact Manchester United aren't sending a lot of staff out to Spain for this little week tour over there against, I think it's Cadiz and Real Betis we play in the next few days, in the next week, sorry. So obviously the club's priorities are back here at home, which is good. Which is very good. Funnily enough, Ryan, who was walking in this morning, took a picture. It's on our Twitter feed right now in terms of there's a plane flying over Old Trafford with "it's" and then ... finish the line off. I think it will be an international message, maybe saying it's coming home. We'll see. Probably on Saturday, people may change their minds about that when England come up against a real outfit in France. But it could be, it's changing hands. It could be anything that's flying over Old Trafford, that message. It could be, it's over for the Glazers. Or it's on, the new ownership is in. That's what we want to see. You can see it there. That's what's the picture's up on your screen now. That's what's flying over Old Trafford this morning. But you got to look at what the club are doing right now, and we understand there's a lot going on with what happened with Ronaldo, then the new ownership announcements and what's happening there. Has the transfer window been put on the back burner? Surely not. It is vital that Manchester United make top four this season now, and we are in a position to do it. I said at the start of the season, 5th probably was our best that we could probably get out of this season. We wanted to see a style of play, a bit of a change, maybe just a little bit of improvement. Well, we've seen that, and we've seen a little bit more. We've also seen other teams completely fall off. Like, I didn't expect Chelsea to capitulate the way that they have. Miles off it. I mean, Newcastle have pretty much replaced Chelsea in the top 6 at the moment. Whether Potter can turn that around or not, I don't know. But like I said, teams coming back from the World Cup will have to adapt, and they will have to find that adaptation into going back to Premier League football and making that work. So it's going to be tough for them to come back into it as well. United need to back the manager right now. January transfer window it's a bit of a concern for me right now, because I'm looking at it and I'm going, I was hoping Manchester United would have been already making talks with Cody Gakpo's representatives or anyone else. There's also another tweet here from Fabrizio Romano. He's talking about the right back. Again, internally going to be talking about whether to buy a right back this January transfer window. All comes down to Aaron Wan-Bissaka's future at Manchester United. Now, Ten Hag has said publicly as well in press conferences already that he's not for sending players out on loan. He's looking for permanent deals. If you aren't going to be good enough to play in Ten Hag's Manchester United team, then you need to be looking for another club. And Manchester United will then help you work out a deal so you can permanently leave. That's where Ten Hag is on transfers. That's where he wants his players. He wants everything set out in stone. He doesn't want players coming back in the summer. Doesn't want players coming back curtailing and ruining his plans, because he will have an idea what he wants to do when the summer transfer window opens, and that may change if new ownerships come in, but he will have a plan. He'll know what he needs. He'll know the players that he needs. Other players coming back on loan aren't going to speed up anything. They're just going to slow things down, make things complicated. And Manchester United are stretched already as it is in terms of staff and dealing with transfers. So for me, you've got to look at it and you've got to say, if there is going to be any deals in January, I wouldn't expect them to be loan deals. Last case scenario is a loan deal for any player leaving Manchester United right now. Ten Hag wants them players out. If they're not part of his plans, then he wants them out. Fabrizio Romano has also said that Chelsea and Manchester United have appreciated Dumfries for a long time. That's Fabrizio Romano lingo right there. Appreciated means that they've followed the player for a while. They've been looking at him, they've been monitoring. Obviously performing well, doing well, Dumfries, and he's a player that would fit in at Manchester United. Would he take Dalot out of the side? Would Dumfries be happy being a number 2? Because right now I think Dalot's one of the top 5 right backs in the world, the way he's playing. He hasn't been, he wasn't last season, but on form right now, you've got to say, he is probably one of the best and would expect to be number one. And I think Ten Hag would put him as number one as well. Another Dutch player coming in, maybe a different scenario. We've seen what happened with Malacia. He came in when we didn't expect it, and he's give Luke Shaw that kick up the arse that he needed. Luke Shaw has therefore gone on to a different level again and is performing for England and United this season. It's good to see, and it's only because of Luke Shaw getting his act together and the way Ten Hag has got these players drilled that Malacia is now sat back out waiting for his chance on the bench again. Dumfries, does he dislodge Dalot? Is he going to be happy not starting every single game like he is now? Look, I mean, he's the man into the quarterfinals of the World Cup, doing well at club level as well. So is he going to be happy with that? I don't think so. I'm just going to try and get through a few comments here now, get you guys involved as well. Dumfries won't come to United. He is guaranteed to start, says Zero Blade there. 100%, that's pretty much what I was just describing there. These players have to want to come to United, but it's in the negotiating. If it's a player of a certain calibre, they're going to want to come and play. Otherwise, what is the point? You've already looked at the likes of Donny van der Beek not getting into the Dutch side for the World Cup simply because he's not playing. These players know where they stand, these players that are at the clubs right now. And is it worth making that big move? As good as it sounds and as good as a deal looks, and moving to a big club is, and the opportunities, are you going to want to move? Are you going to want to make that switch? And there's no guarantee you're going to be playing football, and your career could curtail like it did with Donny van der Beek and a few other players as well. So that's interesting. Just going to bring up a couple more. Greg Frost, striker-wise, who is better to buy than Osimhen? That we should tie up a deal for the summer now. I mean, Osimhen for the summer, 100 million, that's probably going to cost. It's going to be a big, big deal. I think I'm just going to bring up another tweet now, actually, that Romano has said regarding United. This is on the right back again. Manchester United are internally discussing signing a new right back in the case that Aaron Wan-Bissaka leaves. Denzel Dumfries and Jeremy Frimpong have been scouted. Frimpong's price tag is around 25 million and would be a really keen to move to Manchester United. That's from Fabrizio Romano again. Now that's the type of player that you would have thought Manchester United should actually go and look at. There's a player that wants to come and probably knows he's going to have to fight his way into the team. I think this is part of the scouting and the recruitment set up at United now that needs to be a lot stronger than what it was. I remember talking last week about the structure of the new ownership and what needs to be in place for Manchester United when the new ownership's there. It needs to be fully behind the manager, Ten Hag. It needs to be a system that works for him. So the players that are coming in are there. He just needs to pick through them. The scouting set up, like for instance there, Frimpong. 25 million, works. Good price, good player. He's going to come in and knows he's probably going to be back up at the start. He's willing, if he's willing to do that and he's happy for that, that's probably the type of player I would say Manchester United need to be looking at. Is there a right back out there at the moment, like I said, that's going to be better than what Dalot is? Is there going to be one available that's going to come in and just say, I don't care, I need to be playing for Manchester United? Is there anyone good enough? In my eyes right now, like I just said, Dalot's in the top 5 right now, and I don't think there's anyone above him that's going to be available. So this player coming in is solely going to be very similar to what a Malacia was. Come in, show us what you've got, take your opportunities when they come around, but if you fall off, you're going to be replaced by the other player again. And hopefully that player, like Luke Shaw is going to take that on and actually say, I need to get better. I need to hold my place down. He's done that. Dalot would probably do the same. Dalot's performed consistently all season, so you'd expect Dalot to actually stay in the team, even if another right back came in. But if he fell off, if there was that moment, it might even make Dalot even better. He's going from strength to strength at the moment, and he knows that if a player's coming into Manchester United, then he's coming in because Manchester United need the strength in depth. Everyone should be fighting for their position. And Dalot comes across, and even going back to Ronaldo's interview with Piers Morgan, when Ronaldo picked out Dalot, he said he'd be that player that would make it. Was there any players that you thought, Cristiano, that could actually be and do have that mentality to move on to a top level? He said Dalot. Dalot's the type of player that will look at someone coming in, I feel, and just go, you're not taking my spot. This is mine, I'm staying. You've got to do something mega to get over, to come into this team ahead of me. And I think that's what Manchester United need. I remember Zachary is going to get nowhere near this team. It's quite clear, and Manchester United need to make things happen in January to get Aaron Wan-Bissaka out of this team. If Ten Hag doesn't want him, the club have to back him. And everything that we've seen so far in terms of the club and backing Ten Hag, it's happened. He's had more money in one summer than anyone's ever had. Yeah, we went about it the wrong way. Transfers should have been done a lot sooner, and they may have saved themselves a few pennies as well. But they've still backed him in terms of players. Every player that's come in has been a first-team player and has come straight into the team, barring, like I said, Malacia. But he did have his chance when he came in as well. So you've got to look at it and go, right, okay, if Ten Hag wants Aaron Wan-Bissaka out, the club, I think, will just move heaven and earth to get him out of the door. That's how I look at it now, and I think that is what will happen. Just reading through your comments here, you're pretty much the same. There's a few people talking about how good Maguire is in the World Cup. A few concerns with Sancho not going on the little tour to Spain as well. And definitely a right back and the forward is what we need. Most people say need them in January. That's what it's saying. I mean, it's the problem again. It's January. I think the big signings are going to be, they're going to be in the summer, aren't they? They have to be in the summer. That's the way we've got to look at it. And for me, I look at it and go, Akpo is gettable, and he's definitely on the cards for January. It's rumoured that PSV are looking to cash in on Gakpo, and this deal can get done. We can get this over the line. I just feel like, in terms of the other positions, right back, possibly Frimpong, someone like that. But then you're looking at spending 80 million in January. Is that going out of the coffers? Is that going out of the spend for the summer? Because if it is, I'd rather wait it out. I'd rather play Malacia at right back as cover and left back. I'd rather use Lindelof there, like Ten Hag has said. I know it seems like I'm contradicting myself in terms of throwing the season away in terms of January and not spending any money in January, but I look at the problem that we've got right now, and the problem is that Ten Hag is having to deal with the mess that was left before. He's having to deal with Brandon Williams and Phil Jones on stupid amounts of money. Axel Tuanzebe not being able to get in the team. He's having to deal with all of this. Really, he needs to have his squad behind him, the squad to pick from to move forward, like he's had before at Ajax. And I know that's a different animal altogether in terms of how that club is run. But this would be the same again. If we're buying a player now, is he going to be the player that's going to be long-term? Is he going to affect the first team? If we have to wait till summer to get that player, is that not the better option to do that? That's how I'm looking at it. I'm going, would it not be the better idea to wait out in that right-back position until the summer comes along, when we've got more options, players' contracts have gone another year on, everyone's going to take you to the cleaners in January because they know you're desperate for a player to salvage your season. The forward position has to be. We're going to have to bite the bullet and pay the money. It's as simple as that, in my opinion. Like I just said then, we're going to get taken to the cleaners. Is there a player that is available that is going to improve our team? It usually doesn't happen in January, but this time around, there is an option. It's like Sir Alex Ferguson always said, if the right player is available at the right time for the right money, Manchester United will always be interested. Manchester United are interested in Akpo, and that deal needs to be done. We need that extra option going forward. Even if it is him playing as a number 9, he's got his goals and he's scored everything this season from his wide positions, but you have to look at it and go, yes, he can play in that position. We can interchange it, and we need that extra man in there. And for me, it's a case of get that deal done. Hopefully by the summer we've got new owners coming in and we'll have a little bit more money to invest. We can sell players this January to make Akpo work. That's the difference. I do believe that the work going on behind the scenes at Manchester United, hopefully, and I say hope, was making moves to sell certain players and put deals in place like Williams, like Jones, like Axel, Donny van der Beek, and clearly, obviously, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. That's what we need. That is what we need. I feel like Manchester United are going to have to generate any money that they want to spend in January. That's just because of the ownership set up at the moment and the obvious outcome of Manchester United being sold on. Super chat in from Charlie. Your personal opinion, you think Sancho is done? Do I think Sancho is done? I had made a few notes before in talking about. I know Mark was going in on Sancho news last night. He hasn't gone with the rest of the team to Spain. It is a concern, and it does show you that there is a bigger issue there with Jadon Sancho quite clearly. If you're not going on a mini pre-season tour to Spain where you're playing 2 games, you've not played in the World Cup, you've not been playing at Manchester United for a few weeks getting into the first team, you need game time, you need match sharpness to help the team out when we first come back from the World Cup and we play Burnley, we play Nottingham Forest. We could have Rashford out, we could have a few players out who are just being rested. And like I said before, we need to be hitting the ground running when the World Cup finishes. So why is Sancho not going getting match sharp in Spain? That's a massive, massive concern, that, and a worry that something else is going on behind the scenes. Deleting his social media, coming off that, really going to go and concentrate on his football. He's been giving recommendations on coaches, and Ten Hag has sent him away to the Netherlands to work with them, with people that he knows well. Then that's the right thing, but it still doesn't help you feeling a little bit concerned. Happy that he's doing what he's doing and concentrating on his football, but at the same time, why would that player not be going to Spain? Is there unrest within the squad? Is he a bad egg? I don't know. It makes you think that way. I don't think he is. I personally think that Sancho is a great pro, and I think he will get better and will become that player that we thought we were buying. I've seen it in him, and I've seen enough to feel like there is a real player in Sancho there. He's just completely lost it. I mean, Rashford turned it around, literally turned it around this summer. If he can, so can Jadon Sancho. But it's still a concern about why he would not go. Let's see. I mean, Sancho is a concern. There are players and positions in this team that we need to address drastically. I mean, I don't know if you guys were watching the football last night and you was listening to what Roy Keane and Gary Neville was saying, pretty much saying basically Manchester United need to pull out all the stops to make Jude Bellingham happen, and Jude Bellingham come in the summer. We know it's going to be a summer deal. I know it's past the transfer window in January now. We're moving past that, looking forward. But this is why it's important Manchester United finish 4th. Because if United don't finish 4th, I think we can say goodbye to the likes of Jude Bellingham. And I think that would be a disappointment, because I feel like he's one of them 4 players, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. If he came into Manchester United in the summer, we would be challenging up there with City, I feel. That's my opinion on that. He's that type of player, and he's that good. It's like Neville and Keane said. Keane said himself last night, this kid is a superstar. The maturity levels that he's showing now at the age he is are something you would see from a 26, 27-year-old. The performance level on this stage is just something that is very rare. And Neville reiterated everything that Keane said. He just said, look, you just can't believe what you're watching with him sometimes. He started every single game for England in this World Cup and has been key in every single game. He's a bit off with the USA game, but the way he dissected that Senegal midfield last night just shows you. And how he's performed this season already for Dortmund, there's a player there. And if he goes to Manchester City, you're pretty much saying bye-bye again to anyone challenging for that title next season. We've got a manager in place now that we know has a system and he knows how he wants to play. If Jude Bellingham comes in, I feel like we're only going to prosper. We're only going to get better with Jude Bellingham in that team. I think he's one of the 4 areas in this team that Manchester United need to address and would definitely take us on to a challenging sort of status. And I mean that. The calibre of player, Jude Bellingham in the central midfield, we need another centre-back, another right-back, and obviously another centre-forward. That is what United are missing right now. You can discuss the goalkeeper if you want, but ultimately, them outfield positions, I think, would take United to that next level. And Jude Bellingham is one of them players. You got to look at it and go, without top 4, and this is where it then brings back the worry about this January transfer window, because if we don't sign that forward in January, is that taking away the chance of signing Bellingham in the summer because we've not finished in the top 4? That's how I look at it, and that's how important it is. I know I'm talking summer right now, and it isn't anywhere near that, but the consequences of this January transfer window lead into the summer window and the problems that that may bring for Manchester United in recruiting the players, like I said, that we need. There are other players there, and I've seen people pick out on Moises Caicedo from Brighton as well. Now, I know that that is an option. That is a second. I'd say that's the grade down from Bellingham. For me, you're looking at Bellingham and going, that's the player that's going to take us to the next level. If we don't, then we have to buy, and we're looking in the pool of the likes of Moises Caicedo. No disrespect to him, he's a very good player, and he has destroyed United many times. The games that I've been at anyway, he's just absolutely destroyed our midfield and just ran through us like we weren't there. So for me, he is a good player. Brighton, I think, I'm just going to bring it up now actually, that it has actually been reported already. I think it was Ekrem Connor, the global transfer expert, has said that Brighton want 60 million quid for Caicedo. Is that worth it? A few of us said in the comments there, I've seen him going past. I've not been able to pick up on all the comments because there's been so many guys, but I've seen his name just come through on the comment section there a few times. Caicedo is an option for us, but if Manchester United are buying Caicedo in the summer, that to me has shown that we haven't backed Ten Hag in January because we've not finished top 4. United need to sign that striker to make top 4, in my opinion. I'm worried if we don't. And yes, we can still make it if Martial and Rashford stay fit and can actually do that job between them as a number 9. Personally, as good as they are and as good as Rashford has been, which is superb this season, Martial's shown it in glimpses when he's been there, we can't rely on them. We cannot rely on them two to see us through to the end of the season. We need to invest, back the manager, buy that striker, and that then gives us the option to even start discussing what we've talked about in terms of signing them 4 players that we desperately need, because Akpol comes in, we still need another striker in the summer. That's how desperate and short we are, because I do believe that we're going to see forwards moved on. Players that are at the club right now, we're going to see some moved on in the summer as well. You look at it and you go, you've got Garnacho that's coming on that left-hand side. You've got Elanga, what's going to happen to him? Predominantly on the left or the right-hand sides. Sancho, Antony on one. The issue with Sancho that we've just talked about then. Martial. Contracts to deal with in terms of Marcus Rashford. Will other clubs come sniffing for him if he has a great season? Will his head get turned if we don't get Champions League football? Competing at the top level now and playing in the World Cup and this, everyone can say, look, it's your home club, you're never going to leave it. But if something gets flashed in front of you, or say a big club comes knocking, don't count it out that a Marcus Rashford may leave in the summer. You just don't know. If Manchester United don't get their books in order and don't get to sorting out the player contracts and player transfers, and like I said, it's an issue right now because there's so much going on at the football club, then it could come to a summertime when it doesn't do any good to us because we haven't sorted anything out and there's too much to do again, which it does seem like there is nearly every single summer for the football club. Charlie's back in with a super chat. I completely agree. You would have thought he would be first to the check-in desk for the flight to Spain. It reeks of a player looking for the exit. I mean, I wouldn't say he's looking for an exit. I think he may have seen his arse a little bit, I'm not going to lie, being put out by Antony coming in. But let's not forget, Ten Hag did not buy Jadon Sancho. We all talked about it in the summer when Ten Hag was coming in. We're thinking, oh, Sancho, system player, used to playing in that type of game, under that type of manager while he was playing for Dortmund, and we've seen the numbers that he was producing. He's going to be perfect for Ten Hag. It's not worked out that way. You just never know. You never know if the manager is going to like that type of player. And clearly, when he went out and all out for Antony and made the club buy Antony, Sancho wasn't his first choice. Whether or not he can change him, he's looking for that, and I think he's trying to make players better. He has made a few better already, but it does look like he's not going to hang around as well. That player isn't willing to put the effort in, and it looks like Sancho is doing it, so I'm not concerned with Sancho. I don't think he's going to be leaving. That's a definite. We need to get him back to where he was when he was at Dortmund, 100%. And I feel like Ten Hag sees that. That's why he spent this time, recommended these coaches over in the Netherlands for him to go and train with personally, get his life back on track, get his game back to where it was. I think Ten Hag does believe in Sancho. I believe he thinks he's a left-handed side player though. He likes the inverted wingers. And Sancho coming in off the left-hand side onto his right is probably how he sees him. It's exactly what Anthony does down the right-hand side. Will he see Rashford as the type of player to go down the left-hand side and cut in? He has said that's his best position, or he sees him as a number 9. I think, and I hope this is true, it looks like he's kiboshed the Rashford as a number 10. Because Rashford with players in front of him in a congested middle area does not work. I think Rashford needs to have space to run into and can see a space behind the player. That's when you get the best from Rashford. Then he has the option to go out wide or cut in, and you don't know which way he's going to go. Rashford in the middle as a number 10? No. And now with Ronaldo gone, I think that finishes that off. I really do. And hopefully that will be put to bed, because I think his main objective now would be to get Martial in at number 9, Bruno in just behind him, Rashford on the left, Anthony on the right. I feel that's what Ten Hag wants. And if he could look into that crystal ball and say, yes, I can see that Martial is going to be fit all for the rest of this season, then fair enough. That's how he'll go. But we know the reality is Martial is not going to be able to stay fit for the whole of the season. He's proven it now and start this season, and the last few games, you're worried every time the man goes down. Sign him. So sign the player this January. Get that deal done. Get that cover up front. See us into the top 4, and then you're looking, and aren't you, that you can have them options. You can have them players that you really need, and you can say, look, we're going places. We've gone from this position. We're back in the Champions League. Hopefully we have decent cup runs, which is very appealing to players. Obviously they want the medals as well. So a good run in, say, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, this is all good. It's going to be tough going to Barcelona. I feel we will struggle there. I really do. I feel that was like the one draw that Manchester United did not need. We got it, and I do fear for our defence without Martinez that we're going to struggle, especially in the new camp. But this is what Manchester United need to be doing. You need to be comfortably in the top 4, and we need to be challenging for trophies. Maybe it's not the Premier League at the start, but we need to be on cup runs, and we need to be looking at committing to going as far as we can in every single competition. Ten Hag looks like he wants to do that. He's played strong teams in cup competitions so far this season. We've seen it in the Europa League, and we've seen it in the first round of the Carabao Cup against Villa as well. Very strong, put the game to bed, get through. Hopefully we'll do the same against Burnley with the players that we have got. One good thing about Saturday is we are going to get at least one player back in time for the start of the Carabao Cup and the Premier League, because England against France, Shaw, Maguire, Rashford or Varane, there's 4 United players there. Varane's coming home, or Rashford, Maguire and Shaw are all coming home. So we have at least got one first team player coming back in time. We've obviously got Eriksen, he'll be rested and ready to go. If we get Varane back as well, that will be good. And then we've got it's looking a little bit better. The main concern obviously of Manchester United coming up with these games at the end of December is all our main protagonists, our main players, Portugal, Argentina and Brazil, all look like they've got the capabilities of going very far. So Bruno, Dalot, Anthony, Fred, Casemiro, Martinez, they're the ones that have been performing well, Fred aside, the ones that have really dragged us through this season. They're the ones that we're going to be missing come when the games come back to the Premier League, and we may not see them back until maybe the New Year's Eve against Wolves. One game in the Premier League at home to Nottingham Forest. Probably be a game I'd say we needed to have. If I was to choose one, I would probably pick that if we were missing a few players. Hopefully we've got enough to get through that game, and then obviously we'll have everyone back for the Wolves game. But the Burnley one being thrown in just before, we're going to be missing players there. Is it too much then to get them back for the day after Boxing Day, the 27th? We will see. How long do the players need a rest after the World Cup as well? That's another question. But yeah, that's the problem we've got. Let me just check what else we've got. If Newcastle buy in January, we are out of the top 4. I mean, I think we can take Spurs, personally. If Newcastle do make top 4, I still think we can get past Spurs. Theo Hernandez is a player. I mean, like I said before with the central midfielder role, United's targets for central midfield this summer, and I'm not sort of like just putting these names out there because they are the obvious ones, but Jude Bellingham, Enzo Fernandez, they're the type of midfielders Manchester United should be in the market for. If we don't buy in January, we're in the market next summer for the likes of Caicedo from Brighton. That's the difference. That's how important January is. That's how I wanted to summarise and finish this video off. It's not me looking ahead and getting ahead of myself in the summer. It's the fact that Manchester United need to back Ten Hag this January to get us to that stage in the summer. That's how important it is. Whether it's buying a right back in January, a forward in January, we just have to make top 4 now. We really do. Players are coming out at the moment and players are going to be available for all the big teams in the summer. We said we needed to just improve and see improvement. It's a stepping stone for Manchester United. But the way the season has worked out, it's sort of changed. It's changed the objectives for me. I think Manchester United now need to be going in full on top 4 and the trophy this season now to finish it off. And that's a complete change around for me. I know what I said at the start of the summer, but I didn't expect the season to go the way it's gone. I didn't expect Arsenal to be ahead of City. I didn't expect City to be as inconsistent as they are. Liverpool to fall off, Chelsea to fall out, Newcastle to actually be ahead of all of them teams, including us. Spurs playing as bad as they are, but still in the top 4. I think there's 3 teams still in that top 4, because I think Arsenal will start to find it more difficult when we come back from the World Cup. Whether or not they can continue their run, I don't know. We'll see. It's a weird season because the World Cup's there, and that is how vital it is. And teams coming back from the World Cup need to hit the ground running, and I think it's the ones that do and handle that better than anyone else are the ones that are going to be there come the end of the season in May, still in that top 4. That's how important it is. But guys, that pretty much finishes this video. Cheers for tuning in this morning, everybody. Up the England, great result yesterday. We'll be back this afternoon. Beth and Charlie are back with a watch along at 3 o'clock, and Mark is back with Brazil at 7 o'clock tonight on That's Football, everybody. So do tune into them channels. Obviously, Mark's video with Ben Foster will be back as well later on today. He's just filming that now. It's why I'm here in the hot seat right now. It's quite warm today, actually, so I can call it a hot seat, actually. It's usually quite cold here, but yeah, that's it, guys. Cheers for watching. Obviously, give the video a like, share, and subscribe to the United Stand. We're sort of, it's got that vibe right now. It's mixing. It's like we are on World Cup, but for me especially, Premier League sort of mode is creeping back in now, and I can feel it starting to build. There's 2 weeks left of the World Cup, and then we're pretty much straight into the Premier League. So the countdown is on. World Cup is great. I can feel myself moving towards the Premier League now though as well. But guys, that is it for this video. Cheers for tuning in, and we'll see you later on today and through the week.